Hi, Monita. Ayan is joining in a minute. 1 minute.
Okay, sure. Hello. Hi, Ayan.
Monita, a very interesting name. I've never heard this name. Is it Monita? How do you pronounce it?
It's Monita.
I figured.
It means the noble one. My aunt gave it to me. Actually, I'm fascinated by your name also. Ayan means gift of God.
Well, I have to get to the roots of it. So it's Oyon in Bengali actually, because my dad's Bengali, my mom is Sikh. But my father always told me that when he named me, because it means enlightenment.
Oh, exactly.
And now that I've made a film called Part One Shiva, I feel like this name makes a lot. This word enlightened makes a lot of sense in my life. But nice to meet you, Monita. I believe you live in Alabama.
Yes, I live in Alabama. We have NASA here, and there's this very small Indian community. But I'm a storyteller. I've been telling stories about India and our epic for the last several years on the radio, and I write for India Currents and American Kahani in Khabar, several newspapers. And so it's delightful to know about your arc with this story. Tell me about Brahmāstra. I'm so fascinated by Brahmāstra. Tell our audience what Brahmāstra means. Because some of them don't know.
So I'll try to say it quickly because I tend to say a lot, and I think a lot of this will, eventually come out as well in our units as we move from here. 9 months, perfect time for a pregnancy till we release our film, But Brahmāstra is I'll tell you the obvious stuff first. It is big blockbuster filmmaking for audiences everywhere to enjoy on the big screen with a lot of spectacle. It is a fantasy adventure movie, but not just one movie. It's a story which is designed to be a trilogy in the tradition of a lot of films that I used to love myself.
Yes.
But as a modern Indian, as a young filmmaker, I guess that, around the time that the idea to make a film like this even came to me, I felt very strongly that, there was an aspect of Indian mysticism, Indian spirituality, Indian mythology, my own relationship with my faith, like how we think of the concept of energies in India. And while I'm not a scholar in these matters, just as a modern person, these are things that, I felt something for. Like I felt a feeling when I was, spending time in the Himalayas in India. And, when I would read certain things out of Hindu philosophy, I would feel like, wow, this is like such deep, pure thinking. And I felt like if I wanted to do this blockbuster kind of film, why not, sort of draw from these roots? Because I felt there is something there. And I felt that, there was magic there. And I felt like I couldn't articulate it at that point of time, but I felt like I was on to something here, something that could be just incredible and like some amazing cinema. And in some ways, are you familiar with the Star Wars films? So, when Lucas talked about the Force in Star Wars, I felt that that's the kind of like that energy that makes up the universe. This is something that like every Indian, even if he can't articulate it, perhaps understands very naturally. So from this seed and from my love for like blockbuster cinema, I decided to try and create something really unprecedented on a large scale for Indian audiences and of course for audiences everywhere as well. And to make this film out of India from the Hindi film industry. And this was 10 years ago.
This is just fascinating. I think it's a tremendous and a very courageous venture. And I saw the trailer launch and there's so much energy and love. And the lead couple, Ranbir and Alia, They are
I'll
in a very,
interrupt you, Monita. It was only the launch of our motion poster. So trailer abhi baki hai. You know,
yeah,
it's just our
motion
first
poster.
poster.
Yeah, it was just,
Oh, thank
and
you.
they were in a happy place. I was enjoying their banter because I grew up around Rishi Kapoor. We went to almost the same school, OLPS and St. Anthony's in Chembur. He was a little older, but we shared
Ah,
a French teacher, Brenda Miss.
G, G,
So,
G.
but you know, it's very fascinating. I have several Lord of the Rings fans around me, and my neighbor, in fact, he's a great Lord of the Rings. I hope you can come to visit sometimes Huntsville, Alabama. So I'll show you. He's made a whole theater with Lord of the Rings paraphernalia, and I can't wait to watch Brahmāstra trilogy with him because he goes scene by scene and act by act. And yesterday he was telling me that he was getting mad at somebody that he's going to scorch the earth. I'm like, ये हमारा ब्रह्मास्त्र इसके दिमाग में अभी से आ गया. So I was laughing. I said I'll share that with him.
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan. You know, for a long time, if people ask me what my favorite films were, I would say the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now I've finally seen it so many times that I don't think I can say it anymore. But you know, the feeling that those films, that the Lord of the Rings trilogy left in me, in a very Indian way, I actually wanted to try and create that feeling, that experience of, you know, just of like fantasy and deep myth and another world that you can immerse yourself in, you know, in our own way, with our own storytelling, with our own Indian soul and emotion. That's what I've been trying to do with Brahmāstra all these years.
I think it's very commendable. I mean, there are so many stories which still need to be told and shared from the Shiv Puran, from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. And I think your family, I was reading, are great Durga devotees also. And so probably you got a blessing straight from Durga to make something like this. So I can't really wait. And it's so nice to see someone so young who, you know, has made such a big mega venture. I mean, my parents always used to tell me, think big, you know, and I always try to confine myself to one little spot. But, you know, I'm inspired and I hope the generation.
Monita, thank you so much for saying that. I like that you have a sense because it really has been a great effort. For me in my life, you know, it's one of the biggest, most ambitious things that I will do. It's really been like a voyage making this film. It would be wonderful to, you know, it's nice to have your good vibes, good energies, and that's it. It feels really good. Happy you have a good feeling.
Probably the tidal wave that just lifts you and carries you, know, once you start making something so epic.
It is, honestly, that's what it is. You know, when you get like, in many ways, very genuinely, I do find myself slightly fortunate as well that the idea came to me. And I feel in many ways that it channeled itself through me and we've just made Brahmāstra. You know, I'm the lucky one who got struck by that like streak of inspiration. And you're right, it is that tidal wave of passion, which, you know, once you're on that journey, you find the strength within yourself to keep going and to, you know, get somewhere.
So do you ever sleep? I mean, you just, your first movie was Wake Up Sid. So, but do you ever sleep?
Well, you know, to be honest, I sleep very well on some days. Some days I don't sleep so well. I think that as we are, you know, fortunately for me, Monita, as we are getting to the end of Brahmāstra, I've taken enough time with the movie to now get to a point where we can walk this last mountain with a little bit more of control. We're not like, there was a moment in this film where it was, you know, where there were like no sleepless day, like no nights of sleep, no Sundays for like 2 years. But I think that, you know, now the film is finally, ye jo Brahmāstra hai, that concept, we finally kind of on top of it. It's why we decided to start finally putting a release date on it and start to share it with the world. Yeah.
So your hero, you know, Shiva, is he like a god or is he a human like Achilles, you know, who was like made immortal by his mother, or is he like a witcher, like Theo James' movie Witcher? You know, he was taking on all those potions. How did he do?
He's an Indian Hindi movie version of Harry Potter.
Okay, Harry
Okay.
Potter.
He's a boy born in the modern world,
Okay.
but like a deva, you know, not like a superhero, like Lord Surya or Lord Agni. He's got the power, this very elemental power of fire within him. And like talking about energies, fire, water, wind, the power of the entire Brahmand, you know, power of different animals, Vanar, Nag. In the world of Brahmāstra, the mythology basically is, which you will discover in the months to come, that there were a bunch of astras that were created in ancient India by a group of sages where they harnessed all these different energies and stored their powers in them. And Shiva is born inherently with the power of fire within him, the power of Agni, almost like an Agni Astra. That's all I'm going to tell you for now.
So Shiva is omnipresent. So I'm sure the astras are also omnipresent. So
what do you mean by that? What do you mean
are
by
you
that?
a little scared that you might be launching into something which is already there? I mean, it's there. If you don't believe in the time-space continuum, you know, if you don't believe that we are limited, I mean, there's nothing like past, present, or future. I mean, Shiva is already there. He's there. If you think of him, he's there for you. So the astras are also there. So I think there might be a message for the young ones to understand that all the astras we really need are within us.
Monita, what you're saying is very interesting. If we were actually sitting down and having a conversation, I'm sure there's a way in which you look at this, like the way that you're thinking about it. I'm not sure if I've represented it in exactly the same way. I've represented it in my way, you know, in the film. But I think what you're touching upon is a quite fairly deep conversation and we should save it.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I mean, and how do you write? I mean, you write and direct, and sometimes do you want to go back and change things? And, you know, it's constant.
You know, I think especially if you're a writer director and you're used to having work like that, because I made my first 2 films like that as well. You're writing and directing and directing and writing, and of course you have control over those 2 processes. And sometimes if you get a better idea for a scene that's already been written, you go in and you rework it, you know. The idea is like, I think writing and directing meshes together to become creating when you are, you know, when you control both those processes. So you're just constantly creating the film from the day that you're writing it till the day that it releases in cinemas, honestly, you know.
Yeah. So it'll be wonderful actually to see it in the big theater on a large scale. I can't watch because I have a theater next door. This guy has been building it for the last 10 years. So by the time your movie is released, I want to watch it in his theater.
Monita, you must promise me that you will take a flight and go somewhere to watch it on the big screen if you have to, because it must be experienced on the big screen. It's made first to be seen on the big screen and then second on your home screen.
Definitely. I promise you I'll take a flight. Even if I have to go by myself, I'll do it.
Done.
Wish you all the best. And
thank you so
I
much.
hope everything is okay in India now. I just came back in November and was wanting to go back in December, but I'm not coming now. But hopefully I'll see you sometime, somewhere in the world.
You will, and I think we plan to come to North America for this film. We'll let you know. I would love to talk to the community there about the film. And so I'm sure our paths will cross at some point.
Okay. Wish you all the best and good luck to you everywhere.
Thank you, Monita.
Thank you so much.
Monita. Thank you.